Polling in Jammu and Kashmir, it's truly historic, the break of a new dawn in Jammu and Kashmir as it's phase 1 of voting in the valley, and 24 out of the 90 seats are voting today. Of course, it's crucial given the fact that there are big faces in the fray as well, including Iltija Mufti. There has been a lot of controversy in her constituency given the fact that there was rebellion, etc. as well. But today is really about the voters. Looking at those visuals coming in from Jammu and Kashmir, from various parts of the valley. In fact, these are visuals from Kishtwar, where there's a pink booth that has been set up as well, and really heartening to see how women and men and young people particularly have come out in large numbers to cast their votes. This is the first assembly election in 10 years. And what's also important is that these are areas that were once struck by terror. In fact, militancy and terrorism continues to be a very important aspect of not just the poll discourse, but a very important reality of Jammu and Kashmir. But today is about these voters who've come out in large numbers to cast their votes. I'm being joined by two very distinguished journalists at this hour, Javed Ansari and Neerja Chaudhary, with us, senior journalists who have looked at Jammu and Kashmir very, very closely. Neerja ji, going across to you first, how do you look at these visuals? Similar to what we saw in the Lok Sabha polls as well, long queues outside polling booths. Today is really about these voters, and what's heartening to see is that they're talking about their issues which are similar to issues in any other part of the country. Of course, terrorism and militancy and all of this continues. They continue to be an important part of the discourse. But for them, what's important is basic things like hospitals and roads and employment.
Absolutely. When you look at these visuals and you hear people and the lines, what is very exciting is our incredible democracy,
yes,
with all its shortcomings, with all its fault lines, ultimately the way to go for finding solutions. Let the people, their voices be heard about what they want. And today we see that happening. Of course, as you said, last time in the Lok Sabha election, it was a very good turnout, almost 59%. Many people feel that today it may surpass that. What is also very interesting is that areas which used to boycott the elections in the past, like South Kashmir, today are participating in a big, big way.
yes.
So, and the large number of independents, 45% of the people contesting the elections are from smaller parties and are independents. So there are, of course, the mainline parties, National Conference and the Congress, of course, with CPM as a small partner on the one side, the BJP on the other side, and this third group made up of smaller parties, Rashid Engineers, Awami Ittihad Council, and other parties, as well as independents. So, what is very interesting, all kinds of allegations are being made.
Yes.
NC has Rashid Engineer is a proxy for BJP. Will the BJP try and form government with these independents in the future? Has they been released deliberately? And so on. It is actually just the way national politics plays out.
Yes.
Haryana, Maharashtra, it's playing out in J&K today. So that I feel quite excited by this. I don't know what it'll lead to, but it'll at least be the people of the government of the people. And
yes,
there'll be problems, there'll be many issues and challenges, but it's a very good step to have.
And you rightly said, democracy is alive and kicking in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's really what these visuals in a sense encapsulate. But Javed Saab, what Neerja ji said about the political landscape in Jammu and Kashmir, with so many independents in the fray, with the Jamaat also contesting, the landscape has also been opened up in that sense. You have, of course, the mainline parties, you have the regional parties contesting there, many of them fighting a survival battle. But how do you see the political landscape in Jammu and Kashmir with more than 40% candidates being independents?
Yeah, so the question is, who's opened up this landscape and why?
Yes.
There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of, surrounding the fact that there are so many independents. Who's propped them in? Where are the resources coming from? And what is the kind of role that they will play? If you listen to the buzz on the street in Kashmir, everybody believes these independents are looked up with great suspicion. Everybody believes that they are proxies for the center. And if the numbers don't fall in place, if there is room, then they will then switch sides, or they are the ones who will tilt the balance in favor of the center. Whether this is a new dawn or a false dawn, we all hope and pray that this is a new dawn. It's very heartening to see these long queues, people coming out and vote. And we will also know how and what people believe, once they've elected their representatives. Whatever those representatives decide, it will be incumbent on everybody to then accept it.
Absolutely, and Neerja ji, weigh in on this, because of course there have been no boycott calls this time. Even in the Lok Sabha elections we didn't see boycott calls, and I think that's a very positive sign. But what's also important to mention here is that the threat of militancy and terrorism is very, very real. I mean, in the past few months particularly, we have seen back-to-back terror encounters. In fact, just right ahead of the polls, we saw how 2 soldiers were tragically killed in Kishtwar, where of course voting is taking place today. So, do you see this as a way forward also in terms of countering the threat of militancy?
Yes, of course. Whenever situation starts to normalize in J&K, you get a resurgence of these terror incidents. We've known that over the decades. And this was to be expected. And you're right, in Kishtwar, the elections are taking place today. As in other parts of South Kashmir, they're taking place. And even ideologically, for them to be these independent, some people say, like Rashid Engineer has said, look, statehood is not enough. It's a goal of NC, Congress, other parties. But for us, it's not enough. We are not only fighting for statehood. So whether, we are an Islamist party, so Islamist ideology versus nationalism advocated by BJP versus secularism advocated by NC Congress. It's all very interesting. This is, as I say, and political activity finally getting revived in J&K. After so many years, after 2019, there has been a sullenness. There has been, people have been inscrutable about what they felt. So all this is now coming out, and solutions will come out. As I said, it's not that there won't be challenges, but solutions will come out of this whole opening up of the system, the democratic system. So I think let's see where it goes. But it is today to watch these queues, as I keep saying, to me, it's very, very heartening.
Yes, it indeed is very heartening. And Javed Sahab, do you see that Jammu and Kashmir in a sense has been denied the right to be a stable union territory, a stable, a stable state, given the fact that this is the first time assembly elections are being held in the past 10 years. Statehood really seems to be one of the most important poll planks for all parties, interestingly. Of course, you had the Prime Minister also talk about statehood in his political rallies. How do you see that sort of taking shape, that entire discourse around statehood?
Look, statehood is a big issue, and statehood is a distinct possibility. 370, I don't know.
Yes.
370, I don't see that realistically happening. But statehood, very much so. Now, it's important that the Prime Minister has also spoken of it. Well, in the first place, then why did he do away with statehood? And why didn't he restore it? And anyway, I do hope that once the assembly is formed, and if is formed after a free and fair and transparent election, and if they express their will in favor of statehood, I hope the Prime Minister will walk the talk and will honor that pledge, will honor the mandate that has been delivered by the people. People standing out and voting, despite all the trouble that is happening, they've taken a big risk in doing so. And that risk, their courage needs to be honored. If they speak, if whoever forms the government then demands statehood, then we are duty bound to accept it.
All right, I think that's an important point you're making. Javed Sahab and Neerja ji, thanks very much for joining us with your perspective there. Of course, heartening to see, as Neerja ji said, these long queues outside polling booths. Certainly a new dawn. Well, one doesn't know if it's a new dawn or a false dawn, but certainly it has come as an encouraging sign with these long queues outside polling booths. Women, men, the young people of Jammu and Kashmir coming out and voting in large numbers.